hospitals around the nation. They raise money for charity locally and nationally. They do continue to use occult and esoteric symbols, but to a very great extent these things are museum pieces in Freemasonry today.
You've probably seen the Shriners, an offshoot of the Masons, riding go-karts and raising money for charity.
Let the initiation begin.
Freemasons even had the honor of being satirized on The Simpsons.
Welcome to the club number 908. Now let's all get drunk and play ping pong.
Yeah! The Masons have also lost some clout since George Washington's day. The last master Mason to serve as president was Gerald Ford. But Brown says whether they know it or not, the Freemasons' secret rituals still connect them to a rich, powerful, mystical tradition.
I intended this book as a reverential look at their philosophy.
And isn't there possibly another side of the coin here in this day where it's become a little more humdrum with the bake sales and the charitable drives? You've created a little more mystery. You've given some of their mystery back to them, and they might like that.
I hope so. As with any organization, there's some who understand the core and some who are on the periphery, and I'm hoping it starts to pull people in the direction of the ancient mysteries.
The ancient mysteries, they're the key to the plot of the lost symbol. But are they the key to much more?
All of these texts from all of these different authors tend in the same direction, this idea of the power of the human mind and the ability of thought to actually transform the world in which we live.
Can the human mind be...
My fear is that we start to use our minds for evil.
When Secrets of the Lost Symbol continues. The villain of the lost symbol, Moloch, is a giant who's covered himself with tattoos he thinks will give him mystical powers. A double-headed phoenix, the pillars from the Temple of Solomon, a snake consuming itself. You might think the symbols come from Moloch's twisted mind. They come instead from a mysterious book called The Secret Teachings of All Ages, a favorite of Moloch's creator, Dan Brown.
And that really is a core book for a lot of what I research and a lot of what I believe.
The Secret Teachings was written in the 1920s by a Canadian-American named Manly P. Hall, who founded the Philosophical Research Society in Los Angeles. It carries on his work, studying the wisdom of the ancients. Its director is Obadiah Harris.
The ancient mysteries are about the divination of man. How it is that you can become more fully human and achieve a level of consciousness beyond the reasoning mind.
Moloch believes the Freemasons have guarded the ancient mysteries for centuries. He forces Robert Langdon to race through Washington, trying to decode messages the Masons engraved on a stone pyramid. Messages Moloch is convinced will lead him to the lost symbol of the ancient mysteries and to unspeakable power.
And you draw a pretty straight line from the ancient mysteries to the Freemasons and to another subject that we haven't quite discussed yet. Is it an imaginary line or is it a real line?
No, it's an absolutely a real line. The ancient mysteries deal in the concept of the power of the human mind. The Masons celebrate mankind and the power of the human mind. In fact, in the second-degree ritual, there's actually a line where they say, "Here you will learn the mysteries of human science."
There's a form of human science that Moloch wants to hijack for his own ends. It sounds like fiction, but it's not.
Noetic science really is the reason this book took me so long to write. I'm kind of a skeptic, and I hear about these experiments that are being done that categorically and scientifically prove that the human mind has power over matter.
The physical world.
Power over the physical world.
The term noetic derives from the Greek word for mind. Noetic scientists study whether age-old ideas like faith healing, ESP, mind over matter, actually have scientific basis. In Dan Brown's novel, there's a secret lab at the Smithsonian doing cutting-edge research to prove the human mind has such power. Moloch breaks in, murders one scientist, and tries to kidnap another. The secret lab is fiction, but there's a real one similar to it in Petaluma, California's Institute of Noetic Sciences. Its director is Marilyn Schlitz.
I would say noetic is equivalent to intuition, that sense of feeling that isn't rational. I just have a gut feeling about something. The science part of it is really bringing that lens of discernment, of rigor, of critical thinking to what is a non-rational process.
Schlitz showed us an experiment in which one subject, using her thoughts alone, tries to alter the vital signs of a second subject in a sealed room.
Slightly more beautiful.
Another experiment seeks to determine if people, again through thought alone, can affect the formation of ice crystals. A third experiment involves machines called random event generators, which noetic researchers have placed on almost every continent.
They are essentially electronic coin flippers. So if you imagine flipping a coin 100 times, you would expect, based on a normal probability distribution, that you'd get an equal number of heads and tails.
In some experiments, she says, human thought alone has affected these machines, changing the ratio of heads to tails.
And it's the power of the human mind, the power of group thought, the power of group focus?
I don't know.
But how can this be so central to the book if we don't know? I mean, it's a very difficult concept to get your arms around, and there are some, let's be honest, who think it's a hoax.
Sure.
You don't have to look far to find them. Ray Hyman, a former professor of psychology at the University of Oregon, has made a mission of exposing what he considers scientific fraud.
It's starting to bend, it's bending.
And noetic science is on his hit list.
Noetic science is not the science that we know of as physics and chemistry and even psychology. There's very little science there as far as I'm concerned.
Nevertheless, the Institute of Noetic Sciences has received a grant from the federal government to study distance healing, what you might call prayer.
I spent a lot of time researching noetic science and really had to get to the point where I realized, you know what? The world is a stranger place than we thought. And the human mind really does have the ability to affect matter.
He says his new belief led to an old fear.
Every single scientific breakthrough in human development, whether it was fire or nuclear power, has been turned into a weapon. My fear is that we start to learn how to use our minds, and that our innate dark sides will use it for evil.
Which, of course, is exactly Moloch's goal, one he's willing to kidnap, torture, and kill for.
And what you set up in the book is the people who think about, boy, we can change the world in a positive way. Your villain in this book, Moloch, says, wait a minute, I don't want that renaissance.
Right.
I want this to be a source of evil.
Moloch is the reminder that with knowledge comes responsibility.
It may sound heavy for a beach read, but Brown doesn't seem worried.
I think my books contain a lot of meat, but it tastes like dessert somehow.
He manages that by folding the big ideas into a book-length, high-speed chase, all the while revealing the secrets of a city that seems familiar.
No shadows anywhere. The room.
What other secrets does Washington hold? Brown himself will show us next. A lost symbol mystery that has stumped even the CIA.
There is an American sculptor, James Sanborn, and he has